Coming up on this episode of Baketime.
Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of Baketime. This is the July monthly bake. I thought that there was nothing better to celebrate my birth month than a peaches and cream Victoria sandwich for the July monthly bake to celebrate the beauty of summer produce, but then also the beauty of summer birthdays. A Victoria sandwich is a classic British tea time treat, which is usually two denser type of sponge cakes that sandwich a layer of like whipped cream and raspberry or strawberry jam. And I was thinking about kind of what I would want to eat. Stone fruit, it's in season. We got to make the most of this bounty. And you know, you already have that kind of cream element. What about peaches and cream?
Vaughn's Victoria sandwich will be composed of 2 layers of lemon-scented Victoria sponge. The sponge gets soaked in peach tea before being layered with peach compote and fresh mascarpone whipped cream.
It seems like a lot of components, but they all come together really easily and very seamlessly, making this kind of the perfect tea time treat. You know, start it around noon. By the time your friends come over for a spot of tea, it's ready. I did find that this cake took really well to a soak. I decided that a peach tea would be a wonderful soak for this cake. I'm going to measure out 2/3 cup of water. Measure out the water first and then dunk your tea bags because obviously that displacement of the water from the tea is gonna make it look like more water. Add a little bit of lemon juice in there and just a tablespoon of sugar, like a simple syrup almost. So that's gonna steep. I'm gonna show you how to prepare your parchment circles. So you fold it in half. God, I do this wrong every time. I think this is hamburger. And then I think this is hamburger again. You wanna take this corner here, like with the loose edges on this side, fold it over, and then I'm gonna do it one more time. See where the center is. You can cut straight across. I do kind of go at a little bit of a curve. When you unfold it, it's gorgeous. Oh, that one was spot on. So now I'm going to butter the pan. Just taking a little paper towel and then going all around. And you don't want like mounds of butter in there. So I like to go back over with the cleaner edge just to make sure. And then I go over back with the parchment and then really make sure to smooth it down. And then with this already greased paper towel, I just go back over it. Oh. Sorry, Derek. With that, the tea is ready. The boring stuff's out of the way, and we get to actually make the damn cake. So the cake is, like I said, a very easy sponge cake. You know, I obviously referenced Dame Mary Berry's recipe, which is the first ever technical bake that they had on Great British Bake Off. Iconic. A lot of the recipes that I was looking at and how I chose to develop this recipe was equal weights, sugar, butter, and flour. We have 225 grams of flour, and then I've got some baking powder right here, and then a good bit of salt. And that's it for the dry ingredients. So the next thing I'm gonna do is kind of handle what we refer to as wet ingredients, even though sugar is, you're like, that's dry. It's a wet ingredient. I've got about 225 grams of sugar, and then I like to zest the citrus into the sugar and then rub it a little bit just so that it releases the oils. I'm imagining, you know, Nigella and Paul coming over here and being like, Vaughn, what are you making? And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to rub the zest into that sugar. The outer part of the lemon has oils, like citrus oils in it, and the abrasiveness of the sugar is releasing that oil into the sugar itself, which is why it feels a bit more moist. You can actually do that and it'll hold almost like a brown sugar. And now I'm going to cream my butter. Like I said, this cake doesn't have a whole lot of lightness to it. So I do actually like to cream my butter and sugar together for quite a long time in order to make sure that the batter is as smooth as possible. Room temperature butter is going to just mix a lot easier, you know, than like cold butter. It's just gonna be easier for you to incorporate that sugar into the butter and for it to start to kind of dissolve. This is looking lovely. It's so much lighter in color than what it was to begin with. It's still like a little grainy looking, but that's also some of the air that we whipped into there. So when you're adding the eggs could just overwhelm the butter with all that liquid that you're introducing into it. So I like to go slowly and add them one at a time. Okay, that looks fabulous. Go ahead and add my vanilla and just kind of incorporate that just until you don't see vanilla anymore. I'm gonna add half the flour here. Then here's a good little tip if you're worried about explosion. You start it low, and then you should be able to kind of hear the resistance of the mixer, and then that should be when you're like, good. And then I'm gonna add my milk. Okay, just going until that milk gets incorporated, and then I'm gonna finish with the rest of my dry. Scrape down the last little bits here, and this batter looks honestly lovely. If you don't have a scale to weigh out your batter, what you could do is you could take an ice cream scoop and scoop it in there, and then just remember how many scoops you do per. But I'm gonna weigh this, so.
Vaughn now needs to put half the batter into each pan, about 450 grams each.
All right, moment of truth. Let's see if the math is mathing. This should set us over the edge here. Here we go. Oh, 451. Wow. It really was about 450 grams per. And just smooth it out to the edges here. These go in the oven for like about 22-ish minutes. I would start checking them around 20. We're gonna let these cool for probably about 10 minutes in the pan before transferring them to a wire rack to cool completely. And a good thing, even though these are looking a little darker than the ones that I had previously made, we're also soaking them. So that's like always good insurance that your cakes are gonna be pretty moist. So these have been cooling for about 10 minutes. So I'm just gonna carefully tip it over. I didn't even need to really run my knife around the edge. I have you put it upside down on the wire rack for right now, and I will show you why. They're still a little bit warm. When it's warm, it'll more readily kind of like accept that liquid. And the bottom of this cake is more porous, absorbent. So I'm probably gonna do like a couple tablespoons of this soak here. But you wanna make sure that there's soak on both sides. I'm gonna set these off to the side. In the time that it takes for this to cool, I can get most of my peach compote done and the whipped cream. When I was working on this recipe, not gonna lie, it was like in February. And I was like, there's just no way this is going to taste good with February peaches. I don't even know where to buy peaches. They were not good on their own, but when I turned them into this compote, they were delicious. Compote is basically just like fresh fruit reduced down, usually with sugar. I always liken a compote to like a quick jam of sorts. Sometimes what I like to do before I make a compote, especially with like really juicy fruit like this, is I like to coat it in the sugar and let it macerate for a little bit, because the sugar is actually going to draw out moisture from these peaches, and that just kind of gives us a little bit more liquid to work with in the actual compote itself. So those are just gonna sit for like 10 minutes. I'm going to make a cornstarch slurry. You don't want to just add cornstarch in there because it would clump. So now I'm going to add this to the peaches. The lemon juice is nice just to kind of bring out the brightness of the peaches a bit. Again, like depending on what your fruit tastes like, it probably just needs a little bit of acid in there to cut through some of that cloying sweetness. Lemon juice is gonna do its thing. All right, so I've got it over like a medium heat. So we're gonna probably cook them down for about 5-ish minutes, especially the beginning when your pan is a little bit higher. You wanna stir pretty frequently just to make sure that there's no kind of scorching on the bottom there. Okay, now that I see some bubblage on the bottom, I'm going to turn this down. Like I said, I don't want these to turn to mush by any means because I still want them to hold their shape. And I think there's like something really nice about biting into this cake and having that texture of the fruit still. Like you don't want it to just all be one texture. Well, I'm just gonna add like a tiny bit more lemon juice in there. Honestly, that was less than a teaspoon, so I'm not super worried about introducing a lot more liquid in there. This is just a small baking sheet, so I'm just letting those hang out in a pretty even layer without being covered. Okay, the last step is to make the whipped mascarpone cream, mascarpone, as they say in Bake Off, and you can make that kind of whenever. Like that can hang out in the fridge too. You wanna make sure everything's very cold before you start, and once this is done, you're pretty much ready to assemble. So I've got some mascarpone here. I think very traditionally, a Victoria sponge is just kind of like whipped cream or even buttercream. Mascarpone is like a really nice way of like adding a bit more heft to the whipped cream itself so that it kind of like stands up to those cake layers too. I'm gonna add a couple tablespoons of powdered sugar plus some vanilla in there, add a good pinch of salt, and then I'm just gonna whip this to stiff peaks. I like to start on low just to incorporate everything, make sure that powdered sugar gets nice and dissolved in there. That's what we're looking for. I want to pipe it. Most people at home, you should do whatever your heart desires. Any chance I get to break out a piping bag, girl, I'm there. It's my birthday cake, damn it. I don't want to press down too much because I don't want all that air going out of there that we just whipped in. So now it's time to assemble my favorite part. So we've got our peaches, our cream, a little bit of mint for some garnish and some freshness.
Now this is where Vaughn can have a lot of fun, the decorating.
What I like to do when I'm starting is put this layer upside down. This is kind of how I do just about any layer cake, especially like a 2-layer cake like this. Just kind of go around. Oh, pretty, pretty, pretty. Oh, maybe I should have done this on a rotating cake stand. Thank you. I just really want it to be pretty for my birthday, you know? So I like to have a little bit of a dam for those peaches to go. I mean, okay, that's adorable. Wow. And I like to have some of the peaches kind of tumbling.
Decorating may be his strong suit, but he never knows when enough is enough.
After this last one, I'm done. Promise. I think.
Because you have 10 seconds left.
Yeah, no, literally though. Someone does need to tell me to stop. Baker, step away. Oh my God, she's so gorgeous. I love it. And it's getting me very excited for my birthday. Oh, Lord, gays and their birthdays. It's like nice and lemony. It has a little bit of that fruity herbaceousness from the tea, but then you just have that like really rich cream. And those peaches, which again, we're using out of season peaches, but they're still delicious. Wow. I love this. When I was testing this, I would literally just like take a spoon to this whole entire cake every time I opened my fridge, which I think is the sign of a fantastic dessert. For the July monthly bake, we've got this peaches and cream Victoria sandwich, and I really hope you make it, you know, my birthday be damned. Make it for yourself. Make it in celebration of summer. Make it in celebration of the beautiful flowers that are blooming. I think it's just a really fun, wonderful dessert to share with people. And so I'm excited to see all of your monthly bakes. Thank you to everyone who made the Cosmic Blondies from June. They were so fun. I loved seeing all the colors that you brought into it. So if you want this recipe, tons of other recipes, go to the NYT Cooking app, sign up for the Baketime newsletter, Come on, what are you waiting for? Then get off your phone and go outside. Because it's nice, it's summertime. Happy Cancer and Leo season. Most of all Leo season, obviously. Okay, guess I gotta make a wish.
Sing to you first.
If you're gonna sing to me. Uh-oh. Birthday king. Oh my God. Happy birthday, dear Vaughn. You guys. Happy birthday.